Hello all, this is the last in this little introductory series of videos, and yeah, I'd like to give an underpinning reason for why I want to open this group up, get practitioners together to enhance our learning both individually and collectively, and what's been evolving within myself over this process of almost 30 years of TCM study and 40 years of looking at health and well-being, and this need, you could say, within me to distribute some information out into the world at this time when I feel it's very, very valuable and important. So I look at the current approach of healthcare as being disease-focused, suppression-based, compartmentalised, and research is becoming to be the new proof, and also research is giving permission, you could say, to healthcare practitioners to practice in particular ways. Let me just go through the whole lot. Current Western global conditioning, there is a growing belief that one can get whatever they want and be whoever they want. And the underlying push, you could say, that is toward that level of increase is built on a fundamental basis of lack or not enough. Either that's resources in the world or resources within the self. And combining with that, there's the ability to receive any information we want instantly, and then also the ability to connect instantly to anybody in the world on a global basis. And there also appears to be concurrent with that is a psychological lack of self-autonomy, lack of self-empowerment to be able to manage the self. And therefore there's a reliance on the system. So there's a discrepancy that goes on there that manifests in people's psychology. Now the opportunities and the challenges with Advanced Balance Method is that there is an ever-growing tendency to compete in the world with mainstream medicine to prove what Advanced Balance Method has, or what TCM has as a basis, and to go into this competitive field. And also the competitive field out there is actually creating restriction, especially in Australia, in regard to how we are able to educate beyond the science-based evidence truth. So there's a definite necessity within our profession to actually approach the whole of the healthcare system with a different attitude. And this is what I call the creative mind instead of the competitive mind. And the creative mind comes from limitless potential, limitless possibilities, limitless creativity in a world that does not have to compete with anybody else for a single individual to receive what it is they need, because what it is they need comes through their own creative process, and therefore there's no threat from anywhere else on the outside. And this thought of increase at a fundamental level has to come into every single situation, every relationship, person, place, thought that we have, manifest this idea of increase and limitless potential. And the basis of that is that there is one thinking substance that fills the entirety of space. And thought, when imprinted onto this substance, produces the form which was initially intended. And mankind can direct thought in such a way as to influence the one thinking substance to produce form. And finally, the current bioneuro research is that a person's beliefs, thoughts, emotions, somatic feelings, and conditioned reactive responses to current situations are a product of a bio-neuro adaptation to one's environment, which starts at conception and proceeds through to the first 2 or 3 years of life. And the same bio-neuro systems have the capacity to change their programming in the present moment. A projected future can be created regardless of current conditions. So by integrating the wisdom contained within Advanced Balance Method, we can not only create the life of our dreams, but we can also assist in the current awakening happening within humanity. And we are a specialized group of people contained within a holistic group, specifically operating in this field of consciousness at this time to bring about change in the way humans interact with themselves and in their environment. And that's the underlying approach that I take with Advanced Balance Method and when working with clients, is to start awakening that awareness within a person that the essence of who they are began at conception, and many systems throughout the world would say that that consciousness at the moment of conception is a long chain of consciousness, either through genetics or through reincarnation. But the actual essence starts pure, and then due to the environmental and personal state of the mother during gestation, then the brain is bio-neurologically formed based on the chemical makeup of the mother. The child is already produced into this world at birth with a fair amount of preconditioned responses to the world, all of which cover the essence of who they were at the beginning. And then the environment influence, and definitely according to TCM, the purpose of a person's life according to the Hun, the non-corporeal soul that comes in 3 days after birth. The external environment further cements the bio-neurological response within the child in the first 2 or 3 years, which means that when we are adults, unless there's been a fair amount of effort put in toward an awakening of consciousness, then we're 100% trigger response beings, meaning that our essence is 100% covered over with adaptations in order that we may survive our early life environment at the expense of our authenticity. A 100% continually triggering how we are in the world. And this belief that we can be whoever we want, become whoever we want, create whatever we want, is a truth. But it sits on top of this many covers towards our authentic self. So the work therefore comes not in, can I remove this pain in my left shoulder, but can I identify what that pain in my left shoulder creates in my present experience, and can I observe that same feeling back through my whole life, and where did it begin? And that means that through the application of Advanced Balance Method, we have an opportunity to switch people into the creative mode of living, the idea of increase in all experiences, to focus on wellness and health as opposed to disease, to focus on prosperity as opposed to poverty, to focus on beauty as opposed to ugliness or and it goes on and on and on the list. And it's not, when I say opposed, it is opposition in some ways, but there's not a division, there's no separation. So the true yang, which I'll talk a lot about during the Balance Method classes, is a singularity. and it's a singularity of unity that pervades all life. And that's the area that we tap into, and particularly seasonal balance taps into the solar cycle, which is connected to the pure yang, so that within seasonal balance, incorporated into treatment protocols, we start to work on the core principle of unifying opposites within the self. So it's absolutely a magical opportunity for people for practitioners that are really tuned in and want to work with themselves on that basis of awakening, on that basis of creating their dreams in reality, and on the basis of wanting to work with people and restore consciousness at that level. If it suits you, if that's the way you want to practice, you're probably what you would call in many circles the ideal person for this group. Having said that, there's many levels of learning that can be attained here. So if you're interested in simply developing your meridian conversion, pattern differentiation, if you're interested in how to work with 64 hexagrams of the I Ching instead of the 5 recommended ones for each season, the single ones recommended for each season. If you want to understand how to apply 5-element diagnostics to 1, 2, 3 diagnosis, etc., etc., and it goes on and on and on. But if that's the kind of thing that you're interested in, then this group is for you. It's a fledgling group, it's just beginning. I've definitely got visions for how it will proceed in the future, and it's an expansive, increasing vision of a worldwide network of practitioners. And let's turn up at the next meeting and see how we do. So it's been lovely talking to you all. I hope you got something out of these few videos, and I look forward to meeting you in person. Bye.